Hi there! Now we will learn the second part of lesson 16. Please notice how a WH clause is used after verbs like know. There are two patterns in here. In the first pattern, the WH word will replaces the subject. So for the example, at first the sentence is I know John sees Mary, and then it becomes I know who sees Mary. And for the second pattern, the WH word will replaces the object. For the example, I know Mary sees Mr. Miller. Then it will become I know who Mary sees. In addition, the verb or auxiliary of the WH clause immediately follows the subject of the WH clause. So, for the example, there is a sentence, I know who sees Mary. Who as a subject and sees as a verb. If there is an auxiliary, it will be put after the subject. So the sentence will be, I know who can see Mary. This also applies to the next pattern. At first, the sentence is, I know who Mary sees. And then it will become, I know who Mary can see. And there is a note, the use of who in pattern O is informal standard English. Whom is formal English. So if you want to use the formal English, please use whom to replace the who words. So it will be I know whom Mary can see.
Hello everyone, here I will continue the explanation from Navy. But before we are going to my explanation, just remind all of you the kinds of WH word or WH question. There are 8 parts. That's what, who, whom, whose, where, when, why, which, and how. And then how to embed WH clauses in the sentences. There are 3 parts that WH clauses for replaces subject or object. And then WH word comes at beginning of the WH clause. And next, verb or auxiliary of the WH clauses immediately follows the subject of the WH clauses. And for make the simple explanation in this book, we can open on page 175. There is a table that has divided in 2 parts or 2 patterns. Here, the first pattern, the pattern S, explain to us about how to ask or how to looking for the subject. And the second pattern, that pattern O, explain to us how to ask or looking for the object. Here I make the simple sentence. John sees Mary. For the sentence, use verbs. John sees Mary. John is a subject, sees is verb, Mary is object. Just remind you that we put S here after verb because this is simple present tense form. So after the verb, we add S because the subject is from personal pronoun he. That's John. When we want to make the pattern S, so we just remove John or the subject of the sentence and replace it with the WH question like this. Who sees Mary? And the other statement, we can say that I know who sees Mary. Just replace the subject from the sentence and replace it with WH question. And if we want to make the pattern O, so we remove the word Mary of or the object of the sentence. So the pattern is WH and then auxiliary verb and then subject. After that, verb 1. Who does John see? And the other statement we can say that I know who John sees. For the other form, this is simple past tense. We can see John visited Mary. John is the subject. Visited is verb and Mary is object. In the pattern S, we just replace John with WH question. So the sentence is who visited Mary. And then the other sentence or the other statement, we can say that I know who visited Mary. And in the pattern O of the simple past tense form, we replace Mary with WH question. And then the pattern like this, WH question and then auxiliary verb, John as the subject and visit. And the other statement that I know who John visited. When the sentence used to be, here the example, John is a student. John is, as a subject is to be, a student is as object, an object. So we just replace John with WH question. Who is a student? And the other sentence, we can say that I know who is a student. In the pattern O, we replace a student, the word student. And the sentence is, what is John? And then the other sentence, we can say that I know what John is. I know, WH question, and then subject, after that, the to be. And if we want to change in the, we can make like this. John was lazy. Who was lazy? Or I know who was lazy. And the pattern O, what was John? And then I know what John was. When the sentence use modal auxiliaries, we can see here, John can play tennis. John is a subject, can is a modal auxiliaries, play verb 1, and tennis is an object. So, when we want to make the pattern S, we just replace John with WH question. Who can play tennis? Or the other sentence, we can say that I know who can play tennis. In the pattern O, we replace tennis with WH question. So the form is, what can John play? What can John play? Can precede the subject. After that, the verb. And the other statement, we can say that I know what John can play. The next, the embedded statement and WH clauses in this lesson can also be used in subject position. For example, I know how he traveled, and how he traveled was easy to discover. And the next, another pattern, it's also possible to embed yes-no question. Embedded yes-no question must be preceded by if or whether. Notice that the embedded clause has the word order of statement, not a question. So the example embedded yes-no question like this. Is he sick? I wonder. I wonder if he is sick. Don't forget if or whether. And then, did he go? I will ask. I will ask if he went. Why here when? Because this is past, simple past form. So, we back to the verb to in this sentence. Okay, thank you. If there are any questions, just back to the WhatsApp group